Chandon, get your feet off the... What are those?
They're brand new, boss. They're Italian. Here, I actually have a receipt for you since they're a work expense.
What do you mean they're a work expense?
Well, I bought them for work, so, you know, that's the receipt for them.
Chandon, you only ever wear one pair of shoes. They aren't just going to be for work.
Well, can I not take an expense out?
No, work expense my ass. We are now on our way to meet the Derek Watts, filmmaker and documentarian that's in charge of this whole little production here. We've only worked with his crew up to this point. He's only been doing the behind-the-scenes stuff, but he wanted to come and meet with us to learn a little more about us, not just what we do at City Oil. You Adam? Here, go get yourself some lunch.
How was your flight in, Mr. Watts?
Oh, it was fine. And please, call me Derek. Yeah, so I am Derek Watts, filmmaker, documentarian, etc. As you may know from the first episode, I started this project because I was really intrigued about how companies were adjusting to working from home with COVID. But as soon as my crew started work here with City Oil, I just kept getting call after call about how captivating this Dallas Cialis guy was. And once they sent over the first footage that they had, that's all I needed to see. Yeah, I called everyone. I said, it's all him now. And that's a pretty bold move to make as a filmmaker, especially when you've got to call your investors and say, hey, you know how we have all these companies lined up to shoot a documentary about working from home? Scrap that. We got this one guy now. And you know, everyone was a little hesitant at first, but they saw the footage I did, they saw, eventually you saw it, everyone knew it was the right choice. I mean, myself, my crew included, we all made the right choice. Mr. Watts, Dallas Cialis here. This is my secretary, Chandon Ruby.
Howdy.
What a pleasure it is to meet your acquaintance. Likewise, Dallas, and call me Derek. Please sit. We're just finishing up our setup and we'll be ready to go. Alrighty then. Can't say no to a good seat. I think I have that same lap. All right, sorry about that. We're all ready to go. Let's just start with some basic information. We just want to have a more expanded dossier on you guys. Full name? That would be Dallas Edwin Cialis. Oh, your middle name is Edwin. Yes, sir. You see, my mom wanted me to be named Edward, and my dad wanted me to be a winner. So that was their compromise. Interesting, and you're from Texas, correct? Again, yes, sir. Born and raised in Houston. You're not from Dallas? No, my parents were just big Larry Hagman fans, but then again, can you blame them? I guess I'm unfamiliar with him. With Larry Hagman? The Larry Hagman? J.R. Ewing? Major Anthony Nelson? Who shot J.R.? Oh, like Dallas? Guess I've just never heard the name. You should brush yourself up on his work. Fantastic actor. I particularly like him in Checkered Flag or Crash. I'll have to check that out. But as you were saying, you're from Houston? Yep, all my life. Till I moved the City Oil headquarters out here to Wisconsin, that is. Though I was stationed out in Knob Noster, Missouri when I was in the Air Force, and I also did a spell in Mexico when I was a wrestler. Oh, I had a lot of fun wrestling. I was one of those, what do you call it, lucha libre doors. I had this great American flag mask. My name was Gringo Basura. At least that's the name they gave me. Hell, I never figured out what it translated to, but I loved it. Locals were always chanting at me and whatnot. It was great. So if I can ask you a question there, Derek, how did you stumble on our little company anyway? What drew you to come to us for your documentary project? We call City Oil anything but little, Dallas. It's one of the most profitable companies in the world. You're currently listed as the wealthiest man in the world. And I hold that with pride too. Beat out that little snake Jeffrey Bezos 4 years ago. I will say, I heard this little song about Jeffrey recently, and I gotta say, if you haven't heard it, it's quite the tune.
Oh yeah, I heard that one too, boss. It sounds like computers and stuff.
You know what? Yeah, it does sound a little bit like computers, you're right. Okay, let's get back to it, shall we? Well, hold on there now, Derek. I got a follow-up question. I know that I sort of derailed your plans for the documentary and that City Oil wasn't the only company you were going to be visiting. What were the others, if I may ask? Well, I mean, there were quite a few others. The first one we reached out to was MyPillow. We knew kind of right off the bat that working with MyPillow was a path we didn't necessarily want to follow. Luckily, we were actually filming some behind-the-scenes content the day that we reached out to them, so we do actually have that to show. And I guess now is as good a time as any to finally show that to you. Okay, I am Derek Watts. This is some behind-the-scenes content for the COVID Chronicles. When news got out about the project and what we were doing here, MyPillow actually reached out and called us to ask to be included, and so we're gonna give them a call back to see if we can work something out. Not too hopeful, but here it goes.
Oh, hey there. You've reached the offices of MacLeod of MyPillow. My name is Jennifer. How can I help you today?
Hi Jennifer, this is Derek Watts. I'm returning a call from Mike about including MyPillow in my upcoming The COVID Chronicles documentary.
Oh, you betcha. Mike told me all about that. He would just love to be a part of it. You know, ever since last month, a lot of stores haven't been selling Mike's pillows, so he just really wants to get the word out again about how good his pillows are.
Well, what we're really working on here is seeing how companies have transitioned to working from home due to COVID regulations. How have you guys been handling all that?
Well, for a little while there at the start, we had some employees making pillows at home, but that wasn't really working out. And, you know, Mike truly believes in our freedoms as Americans, so he called everyone right up, myself included, and got everyone back to work.
Let me ask you this, Jennifer. I assume you're at work in public offices. Are you wearing a mask right now?
Oh, you betcha I'm not.
So yeah, as you can see, working with MyPillow didn't really pan out. Oh, MyPillow. That's with that MacLeod guy, right? Yeah, he was an absolute sweetheart once I got patched through to him.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. I've invented the world's most comfortable pillow.
Really? I never met him, but he doesn't seem like he would be. Yeah, I just had a little hint of sarcasm there, Dallas. Oh, I see. Mike, he's really good friends with Trump, right? Honestly, who knows anymore? You know, I met Trump way back in the day before he became president or anything like that. I didn't really care for him back then. Makes a hell of a steak, though.
Oh, I remember that. That was a good steak. So tender and juicy.
You know what? You're right about that, Chandon. Derek, if you haven't tried one of those Trump steaks, I gotta say that's one thing he's good at. He had one of his cooks whip those up during a meeting we had with him, and woo-wee, he sure was treating at least some of the American public right that day.
I remember it seemed like it just had the perfect amount of lorries on there.
You know what? You're right about that, Chandon. I remember that. It was like perfect. It was really perfect. Okay, well, you know what? Speaking of steak, how about we take a lunch break and we'll get back into it? Sounds good. I'm starving.
Mr. Derek, Watts, sir, is this going to be like one of our lunch breaks where, like, does this mean I get a half hour?
Sure. Ooh, I'm taking an hour then.